Take a deep breath. Breathe that in. Do you smell that? That's autumn, my friend. Fall is finally here. It took a little extra time for it to roll around this season, but no question the temperatures are dropping, the colors, they are changing, and this could only mean one thing. Halloween is creeping up around the corner, so I am highly anticipating breaking out one of my all-time favorite candles, that being, of course, Yankee Candle's Witch's Brew. Now, this candle for me is tradition. It's like the Christmas tree for Halloween. Every year I buy one, I collect it. I've been burning it for years and years. And for 2017, Yankee Candle gave us two options in candle form to purchase Witch's Brew. We have the new 12-ounce black tumbler with soy wax. On the front, we have the Raven and an excerpt from Macbeth from William Shakespeare, but we also have the House Warmer 14.5 ounce, a 360 degree decal of jack-o'-lanterns, ravens, and trees on this translucent glass with paraffin wax. And something I want to address real quick, because I've received this question many times. That question being whether or not I feel that this new 2017 aromatically is any different than previous years. And well, I always come to expect variances from year to year or from candle to candle. But I do notice that there is a little bit of a difference. There's a sweetness coming through that I don't normally find from Witch's Brew. Now, a lot of people will say that that's only because Witch's Brew has never been released in soy wax before. But I have to remind folks that that's not true at all. Yankee Candle did release Witch's Brew in soy wax, and although this candle is several years old now, I'm not getting that distinct sweetness that I'm getting off this 2017. How do I want to describe that sweetness? Coca-Cola Classic. If you purchase this year, pick it up off your shelf and smell it. And tell me you don't smell that freshly opened, cracked open, cold can of Coca-Cola Classic. I'm going to attribute that to a higher intensity of both myrrh and frankincense. Myrrh is that deep resinous smell that gives you that black licorice, almost root beer aroma. Frankincense is going to give you that brighter citrus and that woody, dusty note that we come to expect on Witch's Brew. But I think once you burn this candle and stop smelling it cold, you really won't notice a difference of the aroma in your living space, even if you're a fanatic like me. And speaking of fanatic, if you are one of those hardcore Witch's Brew fans, I have put together a video compilation chronicling the evolution of Witch's Brew throughout the years. As we all know, every year Witch's Brew comes in a different vessel, a different aesthetic, and last year I filmed a segment. It's one of my first videos ever produced, so it essentially went unwatched. And what I did was I went through almost a decade of different looks and styles of Witch's Brew. I want to splice that in right here for you to watch so that finally this video can be seen by an audience. Here we go. I got some candles here. Any of these look familiar? Oh, it's so good. I wanted to do a retrospective of Yankee Candle's Witch's Brew. Every year they give us something a little bit different as far as the look or the aesthetic, the labeling of the jar. So I want to kind of show you how this candle and the look has evolved throughout the past several years. Now, I do have the candles here, but there are some that I'm missing. One thing I think is clear is that the recipe for patchouli is almost identical, if not identical, to Witch's Brew. Home Goods and places like that will carry it during the Halloween season. So if you want to get your hands on Witch's Brew because it's sold out this year, or if you want to get your hands on Witch's Brew for a little bit smaller price, I want to go on the record and say this was one of my favorite looks for Witch's Brew. The color combination, the hologram label, the bony bunch character figure. We have clear glass, which would be eventually changed. I just love the contrast of black and purple. You can still find this around in shops like Home Goods. In fact, I think that's where I got this one. And people always ask me about expiration or shelf life. And you know what? This is not as intense as the 2016 or the 15, but it really hasn't faded that much at all. It's a little bit dusty. These have been sitting comfortably on my shelves. We finally had a change of color in the glass. This is not a completely opaque jar, but it is tinted black. We have the ribbon around the circumference, but the main artwork on the candle, there it is. So kind of a jack-o'-lantern slash skeleton. We got away from the clear glass, we got away from an actual physical label. That's not a label, right? You can't peel that off. Also, when you burn these candles, let's say you got that wax to about right there. When that candlelight is flickering from inside, you're going to see that light shining through the glass. And it looks so cool. Now, this is when things got really interesting. As you can see, we still have the ribbon, but this year they provided us with a 360-degree panoramic view of all of these wonderfully playful Halloween iconic images, including the witch on the broom flying over the crescent moon, accompanied by her cat with little markings of pumpkins and bats and skulls, throwing her magic and spells across the countryside, down below unsuspecting neighborhoods and houses. Got a little frog right there. Following the 2014, we saw some more changes. We have that orange ribbon, the crescent moon right there, orange. You turn it every hour and it looks like you have a brand new candle. You could put it on a tabletop and you have a 360-degree label. Now, last year, 2015, Witch's Brew still contained the ribbon and almost minimalistic artwork with the witch's hat, with a little spider brooch against a frame of cobwebs. But I think the best part about this candle was the translucency of the glass. You see it's not clear. You see how it's kind of gray up top, but as we go down further to the bottom, we have much more of a black tint. And that light shines through the glass. It really does look like you have this super old, antique, dingy, dusty witch container, witch mason jar that's been sitting on a shelf for decades. 2016 was probably the most different out of this entire lineup here. We got the new Yankee Candle font on top of the jar. Pretty opaque, dark colored glass, jet black. The image of spiders on a series of cobwebs. The spiders aren't really fleshed out like realistic spiders, as you can see. They are much more like a chicken scratch, scribble, the suggestion of spiders. I need to know, what's your guys' opinion? Which is your favorite look? Which one was most successful for you? Which one would be most exciting for you to break out and burn during the season of Halloween? So as always, thank you so much for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. A lot of Halloween autumn content coming very shortly. So I will be seeing you folks soon, but until then, be good, will you?